There's something no one really tells you. Sometimes the cruelest person in your life is you. That inner voice that sabotages you, that criticizes you, that constantly whispers you're not enough. Have you ever noticed how you talk to yourself during the hard times? Because if you spoke to someone else the way you speak to yourself, it might even be considered emotional abuse. But here's a truth that might hurt before it heals. You can't live well if you're your own enemy. And no, this isn't about toxic positivity or pretending everything's fine when it clearly isn't. It's about presence, about learning how to become a home to yourself, not a battlefield, especially when everything around you is falling apart. In this video, you're going to learn how to stop treating yourself like a project that constantly needs fixing and start seeing yourself as someone worthy of care, even on the days when everything seems to be going wrong. And if this sounds like just another feel-good message, get ready, because what comes next might just flip your entire mindset. There are days when even getting out of bed feels like an impossible mission. One notification on your phone can spark a total breakdown. And what started as simple exhaustion turns into existential weight. When stress builds up, even the sound of a spoon hitting the floor makes you want to give up on the world. It's in those moments that self-irony becomes a lifesaver. Laughing at yourself, at the tragedy of burning toast, or taking the wrong turn on a route you've done 100 times, becomes an act of self-care. Camus would call it rebellion against the absurd. To laugh is to resist. For those living with ADHD, this loop of frustration can feel even more intense. But shifting your perspective, even just a little, is already a gesture of inner kindness. And maybe that's exactly where art begins to make sense. Icarus fell. But do you know what Bruegel painted? A calm sea. While he was plummeting from the sky, the world kept going. And that says a lot. Sometimes, what feels like the end of the world to you is just another small detail in the bigger picture. Perspective is everything. The same moment can look like a disaster, or like a push into something new. Art shows us this with elegance. Change the lens, and the pain shifts too. And sometimes, all we really need is to take one step back to see things more clearly. Want to practice this? Put on paper what's eating you alive, right? Paint. Record a voice note. To externalize is to flip the canvas, to see the scene with different eyes. And it's in that motion that the power of reimagination begins. Imagine carrying a heavy burden every single day, knowing it's never going to fully go away. Now, imagine choosing to smile anyway. Madness? Maybe, but it could also be freedom. The freedom of not letting pain decide for you. The truth is, some things just don't change. The routine wears you down. The world demands. And some days it feels like all you're doing is pushing one problem after another. But here's the secret. Whoever chooses to keep going with dignity has already won. Want to flip the script? Stop waiting for life to get easier. Start responding to the chaos with presence, with intention. Sometimes being stubborn enough to keep moving is the greatest act of rebellion there is. And that's where creativity starts to carve a path forward. Some pain screams, some pain whispers, but none of it shows up without a reason. The real issue? We're taught to run from it, when in truth, pain is often trying to show us something. And that's where creativity comes in. It doesn't erase the pain, but transforms it. A painting, a scribbled phrase in a notebook, a song written alone in your room, all of it becomes both a release and a form of healing. Because when pain takes shape, it stops being just chaos. It becomes expression. Want to try this for yourself? Instead of trying to make sense of what you feel using logic, try drawing, singing, dancing, writing. You don't have to show it to anyone. You just have to give whatever's been silent inside you a chance to finally speak. And when that happens, something shifts inside you too, that it's easy to be understanding with others. What's hard is not turning on yourself when your mind slips, when your energy crashes, when your focus disappears without warning. For those living with ADHD, we're just exhausted by life. Self-blame becomes almost automatic. But what if, just for today, you spoke to yourself the way you would to someone you love? Instead of "see, you always mess up," you said, "It's okay. Breathe." Try again. It might seem small, but that changes everything. That's what inner kindness looks like. Want to try it? Every time you mess up, before you judge yourself, pause and ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then you just found a way to treat yourself better. And maybe, just maybe, that's the beginning of a new kind of friendship with yourself. Some people spend their whole lives trying to please the world and forget about themselves in the process. And the wildest part, at the end of the day, you're the one laying your head on the pillow with you. If you aren't a safe place for yourself, then who will be? Self-care isn't just skincare and chamomile tea. It's knowing when to stop. It's respecting your own limits. It's holding space for your emotional exhaustion without guilt. It's having the courage to say, I need me, and choosing yourself, even when no one else understands. Want to start? Try writing down one good thing you did for yourself today. A pause, a boundary, a gentle, it's okay if it didn't work out today. The reimagining of who you are begins in these small gestures. And maybe, just maybe, that's where life truly begins to change. Now tell me, after everything we've talked about, what are you going to do for yourself today? Are you going to keep treating yourself like a mistake that needs fixing? Or are you finally going to start seeing yourself as someone who deserves care, even on the days when nothing goes right? Because being your own best friend isn't about spoiling yourself. It's about respecting yourself, and that changes everything. So take a look at your routine. Where can you make space for more kindness, more art, more pauses, more deep breaths? Because in the end, who you choose to be with yourself shapes the kind of life you'll live. And if something in this message stirred something inside you, let me say this. This is just the beginning. If this video woke something up in you, if it made sense on any level, then subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, we don't sell perfection. We learn how to rebuild ourselves with truth.